Life doesn't fall apart to punish you. Life falls apart to rebuild you. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 5 points about why it feels like your life is falling apart or why you're being met with so much resistance and suffering right before you level up. So in order to genuinely rise into the next level of our life and into a higher plane of existence, you have to let go of the baggage. You have to let go of the personality traits, the beliefs, the habits. A lot of the times when these depressive episodes come up, or it feels like life is falling apart and we're just uncomfortable and unhappy and things are not aligning, realize that your identity is dissolving, and the things that might have felt good for you before, or that gave you comfort or gave you understanding of life or yourself, or that numbed you or gave you pleasure, it probably won't hit. It'll probably leave you feeling empty and not good. And that's another sign that you need to let it go. You need to be present, sit with the emptiness, and realize your character is being recreated. Your perceptions, your beliefs, your lifestyle choices, your habits, those things are being recreated. So let go of the old, sit in the emptiness of the present moment, allow yourself to open to receive so you can go into the new. Okay? Let's go into point number 2. Chaos brings clarity. We all know that comfort is very dangerous. Comfort brings stagnation, and it makes you want to stay the same and to stay coddled and to stay in that routine and with that person, eating those foods and doing those things because in your brain it's telling you that that's safe and that's okay, when in actuality you most likely are self-destructing and you're staying small and you're not taking care of yourself and you're doing all these things that are not good for you. Comfort is low-key the enemy for the most part. It is beautiful, when you're actually relaxing and nourishing your soul and replenishing yourself. We love that. But I'm talking about the comfort that's playing video games all day and scrolling and eating junk food and not stepping into higher roles of reality and sharing your voice and letting go of things and places because it hurts. And usually when life is falling apart, that usually means we're going through loss. We're losing parts of ourselves. We're losing relationships and people and comforts, and the ground underneath us is gone, and it's so uncomfortable. And it's only through that discomfort where your perception of life starts to change. The things that once brought you comfort, that once made you feel good, that once made life sense is no longer doing that for you. Therefore, you have to now search for something new, something better, something more aligned. And if that chaos never happened, then that newfound clarity of the next level of your life would never come. You have to learn to dance and embrace the chaos and the falling apart of your life, because it forces you to reevaluate everything. It forces you to take a look in the mirror and just see yourself and be like, what am I doing? What is important to me? What am I prioritizing? What am I believing? What am I doing on a daily basis that's not feeding my soul, that's not building the life I'm meant to live? You are forced to look at yourself and you're forced to change. You're forced to craft and create a plan and have clarity and choose a direction to go in. If not, that falling apart is going to continue. The ego death, the pain, the depression is going to continue. God is forcing you to wake up when life falls apart. When the chaos comes, the loss comes, the betrayal comes, God is forcing you to wake up and to look at yourself and reevaluate your life and shift your priorities and turn your gaze towards the things that you know you need to do in your soul. And the funny thing is that you stop being so afraid of change because there's no other option but to change. Unless you want to stay falling apart, you want to stay in chaos, then fine, don't change. Stay in that horrible cycle that's really uncomfortable and brings no pleasure and no enjoyment and no light and no love. You learn a lot, but it's not fun. So if you want to move out of that, you want to go into the light, into the fun, into the bliss, into God's love, change. You have to change. And chaos will force you to change, so it's oddly beautiful. It's bittersweet. A lot of life is bittersweet. Things get worse before they get better. Can I get an amen? Who's been through that? Have you guys been through that? I'm very familiar with that. And that's another cycle of life, a bittersweet cycle of life. And I'll give you guys some real life examples so you can see this, because I like examples. When you clean your room, I'm talking deep clean, you take out all your clothes from the closet, you're dusting and taking everything down and reorganizing, it gets disgustingly messy, more messy than when you started. But you have to trust the process. You have to keep cleaning, keep putting in the effort. Don't analyze and get disgusted by the mess. Just keep going. Keep doing what you said you were going to be doing, and eventually the room is beautiful and clean, better than when you started. And that's a lot like our life and our journey. When you are creating a new identity, when you're stepping into your purpose, into the next chapter of your life, things are going to fall apart. Things are going to get messy, uncomfortable. You're going to be faced with yourself. You're going to be usually by yourself, and it's uncomfortable. But trust the process. Keep cleaning. The metaphor of cleaning the room is the metaphor of cleaning your mind and your perception and your lifestyle choices and your beliefs. You need to cleanse it. You need to let go of the old, gather the new through God's love, through God's channeling, through opening yourself to whatever you need to. I can't tell you that. I don't know. I'm not you, but you know what you need to do. You open yourself to the new insight, the new information, you integrate it, you embody it, and then voila, new version of self, new chapter of life, new purpose, new joy, new connection to God. Hallelujah, we love it. And again, another example is your body healing. I remember one time I got into a bike accident and I messed up my foot really bad. It was all cut up and my toenail came off. It was not a vibe. But the first day that happened, I was it's not that bad. I'm not in that much pain. It's fine, whatever. But then the next few days, it was terrifying. My foot got so swollen. It was throbbing of pain. The pain was so intense. And I was oh my God, is this, should I go to the hospital? Is this okay? And then one day it was just like no inflammation, started rapidly healing. So as you level up and as you heal, it most likely will get worse before it gets better. So again, trust the process. When I had that wound on my foot that got worse before it got better, even as it was getting worse, I was still taking care of it. I was still nurturing it. I was still putting the ointment, cleaning the bandages, being mindful of what I was doing. I had to trust the healing process. I had to let time do its thing, which you need to do for yourself in your journey. As you're rising into a new level of yourself, you need to nurture yourself. You need to do the things day in and day out that are going to help you to patch up your holes and cleanse your mind and step into purpose and build strength within your mind and in your body. These things take time, you guys. It is a beautiful cycle and process, but if you're not patient, you end up destroying more than you create. And we need to be okay with the discomforts of life because they're unavoidable. So you might as well learn to enjoy them, to maximize on them, to nurture what you need to nurture as you're in those in-between chapters or in those healing chapters or in those chaos chapters, because there's so much there. Like there's so much there to work with, but we get so caught up in the stories in our mind and the labels that society has put into our mind to say like, that's bad. When your life falls apart, that's horrible. You're a failure. You're a nothing. You think everyone's judging you. No one knows what the heck is going on. If anything, the people that their lives fall apart, those people know more than the freaking people with the stable jobs. Tell me I'm not lying. Well, they know more about life and about like the deeper truths of life. Because if you always stay in comfort, your mind is never going to be transformed and open and malleable and just like receptive to the truth of life. And a lot of the truth of life has to do with chaos. And the fact that chaos then brings clarity. And before things get better, they get worse. Like these are things that you can only really learn from being out there in life, in the thick of it, in the struggles, in the shifting of self, in the letting go of self, and then in the rebirth and the redemption. And like, it's a cycle. It's a beautiful cycle that's unavoidable when you live life and you are in tune with yourself and you want to do what's true for you. On to number 4 about when life feels like it's falling apart, but you're actually about to level up. It's a test of your character. It's a test of your character, okay? You need to know what you're really about, okay? And the only way to know what you're really about is to be tested, especially when life falls apart. And when you have no ground underneath you. You have nothing to boost your ego and to feed into your neurosis and the stories that you've held on to for so long. When those things fall away, when the comforts of life, the stability of life, love from other people, validation from other people, when those things fall away, who are you? What are the character traits and the beliefs and the morals and the things that you live by? What happens then? Who are you then? Life is gonna fall apart before you level up. There is going to be chaos before clarity comes. So when you're in chaos, when life is falling apart, who are you? Well, it's not about who are you, but your truth of your character is going to be revealed. And it's not always beautiful. And the times in my life, when my life was falling apart and I was in the ego death, I was shown how weak I was. I had a lot of strength when I was in love and light, and when I had everything I wanted and my ego was all boosted up and I was da-da-da-da-da, I was real strong. I was real amazing, you know? But when life fell apart, I was like, wow, I am weak. Mentally weak, very mentally weak. And it was shocking, it was uncomfortable to like accept that and realize that. And it tested my character. But from that realization and experience, it then gave me the ground to become stronger, especially when life falls apart. And when things are not all love and light and I'm in darkness and I'm suffering, I became stronger in those areas, which is a win. That's a win in this earth realm, you guys. That's like what we're here to do. It's awesome to have like an amazing job that pays you much money, but like if you can stay real strong when life is falling apart, or when someone dies, or when you lose a lot of money or whatever, that's a dub. That's awesome. That's incredible. That is like, God is like, yes, my child. Yes, 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 yes. It's awesome. But when life falls apart and you're having the loss and the misfortune, just know your character is being tested by God and by yourself. Both God and yourself are like, well, your higher self, they're like watching you and observing you, like seeing what you're going to do, what you're going to believe. What are the stories that you're going to loop in your mind, and the beliefs you're going to hold on to, and the things that you're going to do, and the things that you're not going to do? It's a test. So the question is, how long are you going to be in that cycle of test? Because you don't pass the test unless you do what you need to do and do your studying and like actually make the right choices in order to get an A on that test. And something really interesting with this topic is that the test is going to repeat until you learn what you need to learn. So the question is, how quickly can you become aware of the fact that you're being tested when life is falling apart? Are you going to always fall back into the same victim mentality, into the boo-hoo, poor me, let me go binge eat and smoke a lot of weed and go hook up with random people to make me feel better because my life is falling apart, so I need to some external saving and like numbing and whatever? No. I mean, you can do that, but just don't keep doing it because you're not going to pass the test, okay? And then unfortunately, your test is only going to get harder because there's like real things that happen in life that really test our soul, really test our character. So the question is, are you going to pass that test? Are you going to do the work of strengthening your mind, strengthening your soul, being unconditionally peaceful, accepting, balanced, trusting in God? That is a huge part of our test. Oh my gosh, when our life falls apart, God is testing your faith. He is testing your ability to trust in him no matter what, and not to cling to this physical world for comfort, because it's nothing here is going to last. But your faith in him, your faith in the unseen, that is what will get you through any level of chaos. No matter what happens in life, no matter what you lose, how much your life is falling apart, your faith in God can get you through anything, boy. Faith can move mountains, okay? Your faith can move mountains. And lastly, the last point about why your life falls apart before you level up is because you need to be humbled. Humbled, capital letters, Humbled. Humbled. When you don't humble yourself, life is going to humble you eventually, in some way, shape, or form. And the reason why we get humbled is because we create so much disillusion in our minds, in our perception of life, in our priorities, in the stories in our head, and we get lost in ourselves and in this world. And life is going to humble you, and things are going to fall apart, and you're going to suffer, so you can be cleansed. All of these neuroses that you created and the disillusionment, you need to be cleansed of that. And the best way to do it is to humble you. Because when you're humbled, you're pushed down to your knees. Like, you're stripped of yourself, of all the things that brought you joy and pleasure and you thought mattered, and your ego and all the things that like boosted you and made you feel like you're everything and you're the greatest and you know everything. Life will knock you down onto your knees. But you know the best part about getting knocked down on your knees? That is the best position to pray. That is the best position to look up to the Most High and to ask for guidance from that point, instead of always looking to yourself and your ego and your desires and your pleasures. You stop going so much me, and you look up to God and you say, I want to be one with you. I don't want to be one with this world and all these things that are draining me and like taking me in these endless cycles. I want to be one with you, where the path is like beautiful and straight. It's not always beautiful, it's challenging, but like, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. I learned in my own life that being humbled is one of the most powerful initiations into your character, your soul, everything blossoming into this like beautiful awareness of like, you aren't everything. I thought the world revolved around me for so long, you guys. It still kind of does, but like, I'm so much more humble now. I'm so much more compassionate and understanding for the cycles of life, and realizing that I'm not always the one in charge and that I can't always control everything. And what this has done for me, it has deepened my character in a way where like God is my foundation, not this crazy mind that I have, not this crazy relationship with the world that I have. And when you get humbled, it really teaches you that you're not always in control, and you need to be stripped of that ego, of that belief that you know everything and you got it all figured out and you're big head honcho, yeah. Like, you will get stripped of that. Everyone does eventually. It helps you to wash away your pride, you guys. Like, pride blocks us from so much truth and so much beautiful medicine and things that are so necessary for us to experience while we're here on earth. Pride blocks us from those things. And the funny thing is that when we get humbled, we're basically pushing ourselves out of the way, because you realize, I'm in my own way. And until you get humbled, you won't realize that. You'll keep feeding your own neurosis, and you'll keep adding the layers into the brick wall that are blocking you from the things you're meant to do and the people you're meant to connect with and whatever. Like, being humbled is so necessary in this world where everyone's ego is so gassed up with social media and the monies and all the things and you guys know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. So when life falls apart and you lose a job, you lose a relationship, you get sick, you lose a bunch of money, you get a little bit ugly, like, things happen, okay? When life falls apart, you get humbled, because you're actually being prepared for the next season and next chapter of your life, where you can no longer bring that pride with you. You can't bring those egoic traits that you have and all the validation from things and people that don't actually matter for your soul and for where you're going. I've learned in the times where I got humbled in my life, I was like, whoa, I don't know everything. And I'm wrong. I was wrong for thinking that that was good or that was the right thing for me forever for my life. Like, when you get humbled, you have to realize your own flaws, your own faults. And you have to face your own BS. You have to face your own patterns. And the last thing that I want to mention is that not a lot of people talk about life falling apart. It's not something that's glamorized. It's not something that people are really vulnerable about or speak about. So I want you guys to know that it's okay when life falls apart. It's okay when you build something, you believe in something, and it eventually falls apart. That's okay. Allow those experiences to humble you. Allow your life to fall apart sometimes. Allow chaos to come in order for things to be cleared, for your soul to be replenished with the truth. A lot of the times, the discomfort in our life, the chaos in our life, it's literally shaking away the illusions. It's shaking away the things that don't serve our path. And I'm gonna tell you guys again, it's uncomfortable. And sometimes it lasts a long time. But can you trust the process? Can you understand that life will fall apart before you level up? That those are like beautifully connected and they like flow into each other when you're aware of it? When you're aware that you're being tested, that when your life falls apart, to test of your character. These are things that we learn with time, with maturity of the soul and of the mind. And it's so funny because when you're in it, when your life is falling apart, you forget these things like this. And it's so easy to be a victim. It's so easy to believe that God doesn't love you and like life is so horrible and like you're by yourself. And it's so easy to fall into those things. But I want to remind you guys, when you're in it, when you're in the storm, take all of your strength and look up to God and know that right above that storm, there's a blue sky always. And that's how we build our character. That's how we become unconditionally strong and trusting and faithful in God, in ourselves, in our life, no matter what, because your life will fall apart. You know how often people go through midlife crisis? I go through a midlife crisis every 2 years. I didn't have to wait till I was 30, 40, 50, 60. Nah, those started when I was like 22, okay? I've had a lot of ego deaths. I've had a lot of disillusion of myself. My life has fell apart a lot of times because I had to get humbled and brought to my knees in order to be reborn, recreated, more pure, more true, more aligned, more powerful, more authentic. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, okay? I was yapping a lot in this video, but I hope I shared something that was helpful, something to help you when your life falls apart before the level up, because it's gonna happen. It's inevitable, okay? But like, have love for yourself, have compassion, have trust, have faith, and know it's temporary. And your character's being tested. So let yourself learn what you need to learn, study for the test, pick the right answers. It's okay to fail. We will fail the test. It's inevitable. But you gotta fail in order to get good, you know? That's life, okay? Much love, many blessings.